Yes, I have a long list. I have a long list of supers I want to test today, chat. Mainly, we're going to be starting with Warlocks because, you know, Warlocks with Metaiodoxia and Needlestorm. I want to see how good this really is. So we're going to be starting with that. We're going to do Hunters afterwards and then Titans because Titans are arguably the more boring ones this season. So yeah, we're gonna start with Warlocks. The first one that I want to test, and by the way, chat, this is all at 200 super stat. Yeah, I want to open up with Needlestorm here, obviously the biggest one with Metaiodoxia. So yeah, we're on the normal mode fire range. Let's just see how much a Needlestorm does, and then we'll tally it up afterwards. So this is prismatic, by the way. So there we go, 14,391 for a regular Needlestorm. So now I've saved a loadout where I have Metaiodoxia on, also with 200 super. Try and get all the threadlings on. Okay, that's more like it. 18,624. That is not as much as I anticipated. Let's try that one more time. There we go. Okay, yeah, it's 18,264. So actually, I want to work out what that is. 18 or 624. So it's a 33% increase for Metaiodoxia. Interesting. Yeah, Thread of Evolution might actually make that better. So I do have another loadout here, which is, again, 200 super, Metaiodoxia. But this time we do have Thread of Evolution, which I believe increases threadling damage by 33%. Let's see what this does now compared to the last two. They all hit, which is very good. Okay. 20,343. That's pretty good. I do want to see how this compares to like a bunch of other supers that we have here on the list, but there is a lot of interesting things going on with other supers, especially with well, the next one. We'll keep that in mind for now. 20,000. The next one that I wanted to do is Winter's Wrath with Ballador's Wrath Weavers, and we have Faceted Rune on here as well. Again, 200 super, because the Winter's Wrath super had its Shatter Wave damage increased by, I think it was 211%. And obviously Ballador's increases the damage of that by another 150. So having those stacked together, this might actually end up doing quite a lot of damage. So oh, and by the way, we do have the health bar on the bottom of the screen now. I don't know if you guys noticed that, but it's cool. Anyway, let's try this out. So I'm just gonna try spamming this as like often as I can. Here we go. Another. Okay, this is actually doing a lot of damage. What the hell? Okay, that won't be able to shatter. 28k for Winter's Wrath. That is actually much better than it was before. 28,027. Okay, that's pretty cool. All right, so we'll do Chaos Reach next. First of all, I wanted to test Storm Dancer's Brace with the changes to Storm Trance because there's a couple things here. The maximum damage of Storm Trance was increased by, I think it went from 50 to 65%. And then Storm Dancer's Brace had its damage now like apply with hits rather than just kills. And actually, this is the first light super that we are going to test. So I need to remember to proc Facet of Courage here, which should improve my damage by 10%. So just try and get this accurate. I think I'm just going to do Needle here to get him unraveled. We'll reset that real quick, but then we're going to go here, the landfall damage, and then I'm just going to hold this down. Nova Bomb we'll try afterwards, but yeah, let's see what this does here. That's a lot of damage. 44k? 44k for Storm Trance? And of course, we get the bolt charge passively from Storm Dancer's Brace as well, so that's not bad, chat. That's not bad. 40, yeah, we'll call it 44 because it's ticking a bit from the unraveled projectiles, but 44k for Storm Trance with Storm Dancer's Brace. That's very nice. Yeah, okay. Can this be beaten by Chaos Reach though? That's what I wonder. I wonder if Chaos Reach, because by the way, Chaos Reach has had a 20% damage buff. Chaos Reach here should be all good. I don't think I need any extras. Yeah, right. Let's do it. The bolt charge shouldn't trigger. No, I only have 2. See how we do. No, it doesn't even come close. Doesn't come close to Storm Trance. And low-key, Storm Trance doesn't even take that long to get off either. 29,118 for Chaos Reach. I mean, that's still very good. That is more than Needlestorm, any of the Needlestorm variants. It's more than Winter's Wrath, actually. So Chaos Reach Geomags is back. That's pretty good. Star Eater Novom. Actually, I'm excited for this. You know why, chat? Because, well, the reason why I'm doing this in the firing range now, rather than Greg, is because there's this new button here, which lets me create orbs, and I can just keep clicking it, I suppose. It's like an orb shower. It actually just comes from the top. Okay, so this is a very easy way to get my Feast of Light stacks all the way up to the maximum, which is nice. Nice. Anyway, this is Feast of Light times 6, Star Eater Nova Bomb. How is this going to compare? Honestly, I think this will probably be one of the lowest, but I do need to unravel Carl here, so let me just do that. And then we'll go here. All the projectiles hit. Oh, okay, that's actually better than I thought. We're at 22,544. I will lock that in. Pretty good. Damn, right, I was actually expecting way more from Needlestorm. There's no way that I was actually doing it wrong. After that, I want to try Dawn Chorus. This super got a 20% damage buff, and it also got a 5% damage buff if you wear Dawn Chorus. So again, 200 super. We've also got Ember of Ashes and Ember of Beams, help with the tracking. And apparently Bungie said that you should be getting every sword cause an ignition. So we'll find out if that is the case. Let's check here. 1, 2, 3. I think it's just going to happen on a delay. But we're going to have lots of ignitions. I don't think there's a distance thing going on here. 31k. 31.6, that's actually very solid. Bro, Needlestorm is actually getting embarrassed. Yeah, I know it's a burst super, but come on now. It actually didn't take too long to get off. That's honestly not terrible, like, at all. Honestly, the Storm Dancer's brace change, where was it? Here. This would be awesome as, like, a roaming build. The amount of damage you're going to be able to put out with this, like, for Lawless Frontier, I'm actually very excited to mess with this for a build. Definitely keep an eye on the channel for that. Anyway, sticking with the solar super theme chat, we are going to go to Star Eater Song of Flame. It didn't actually get a buff, but we're just kind of getting the numbers for it. You know, we did it last time when we did the super testing video. So we'll do Courage here, proc. Reset that real quick. And I'm going to start with the Wisps and then go into the melees and just see how we do here. I think starting with the Wisp actually makes the super do like slightly more damage, but we can try both. So we'll start with the Wisp cycling. Should be able to get one more Wisp and then one more snap. There we go. 36k, 36, call it 36,560. So 36,560 for Song of Flame. Actually, this might be a bit troll chat, but the last one that I want to do is actually Nova Warp, because this thing has been changed to where when you use the Dark Blink ability, in fact, I'll show you. But anyway, if you pop this super now, if you use the Blink ability, it creates these weakening seekers around you here, as you can see. And they weaken, and they also do damage, so which means it's gonna increase the damage of the super in the long run. Like I said, this could be totally troll, but the reason we are also using Astrocyte Verse is to make it so the blinks don't cost energy. And yeah, there you go. You know, blinking doesn't cost any energy when you see in the bottom of my super. So Nova Warp. Let's see how it does. So we're gonna pop this on him. I'm gonna launch into him to do the Weakening Seekers. Do this. Do this. I'll probably do like third one here. Launch into him again. Another one. I'll just hold it for the third time. Okay, 27k. Honestly, that's not terrible. Not terrible for Nova Warp. Will you ever use this super for damage? No, but I can tell you what, that's higher than a Star Eater Nova Bomb, higher than Needlestorm, but again, not a burst super. If you're wanting to use a roaming super for raw damage, honestly, Storm Trance is pretty crazy right now, so. And that is actually it for the Warlock supers, or at least that's the ones that I wanted to test. A very promising start, to be fair. Honestly, the one that stands out to me the most is Storm Dancer's Brace, but we can go back in now, and we're gonna go into Hunter, because with Hunter, we have some very interesting changes to test, especially with the tethers. Okay, so yeah, for Hunters, the first one I wanted to start with was actually Celestial Nighthawk with Radiant and Facet of Courage, because as you guys may know, Celestial Nighthawk or just Golden Gun in general was buffed by, I think it was 39% off the top of my head, and obviously that will affect Celestial Nighthawk. So for this, it's going to be with Radiant and with Courage. So actually, I'm just going to do this. I'm going to do this. I'm going to stop that. We got Celestial Nighthawk, and boom. 23,995. That is beautiful. 23,995 for Celestial. That blows Needlestorm out of the water. Hunters are so back. Try with Still Hunt. You know what? I wasn't thinking of doing it with Still Hunt, but I'll show you. I will show you how much a Still Hunt does, chat, with Radiant. Let's take a look. So we'll go... There's no surges or anything, so we'll just go Still Hunt. I'll pop the Radiant. This is with Nighthawk. 9,015. That is with no greater than 100 weapon stat. That's not bad either. We won't have that on the tally, but like in the end, but yeah, just remember that. Still Hunt is pretty good, and so is Golden Gun. But actually, keeping the theme of Golden Gun, after that, I did want to test Star Eater Golden Gun, as you can see here, with Radiant and Courage once again, because as you know, with Desert Perpetual, the meta is very much like, you know, or it used to be using your Hunters to enable your Titans, and they didn't do much damage. Anyway, let's get this test underway. So this is Star Eater Golden Gun with Courage and Radiant. Yeah, so again, I'll do this, reset this real quick, and then here we go. 1, 2, 3. And we got an ignition. Ah, I forgot about that. Yes, so we get an ignition now as well with the new changes because the golden gun shots apply scorch. So yeah, that's very good. 24,972. That is ever so slightly more than Celestial, but obviously it requires a lot more work. Yeah, just a tiny bit more than Celestial, but obviously it requires more work, but still very good. Star Eater, you know, with Courage and Radiant, so very nice. Moving on, again sticking with the Solar Hunter theme, we're actually going to do Blade Barrage. We're going to do Star Eater Blade Barrage, and this is going to be loaded up with Knock 'em Down. We have Ashes on here and Beams as well to help with the tracking, so we should get more projectiles from Knock 'em Down. And believe it or not, Blade Barrage has been buffed by like a huge, I think it was 39%, or that, I think, was that the golden gun number? Either way, Blade Barrage has received a pretty big buff. I'll probably have it on screen. I think this is actually going to be the highest burst super in the game. So I'm going to walk backwards so they're all concentrated. Yeah, 25,449. Okay, so it's still, so yeah, so it's more than golden gun, but I think maybe a couple of the knives missed. Still, very good. Let me just verify this on good old Greg here. So I'll go Radiant, then we'll walk backwards. Hopefully more of them hit him with this larger model. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's better. That's better. 29, almost 30k. Call it 30k. 29,940. If all of your blades actually manage to hit, that's good. So yeah, that is the Solar Supers. So Solar Hunters, you guys are eating good. I mean, we knew this. The next one is actually Tether focused. But before we do any testing, I actually just wanted to verify that Tether is a 35% debuff now. So I'm actually just going to do this onto Greg. Which is 2687, so I'm just going to type that in. And then we're going to do the same again, but we're going to tether him and just see what this is. So 3627. Yeah, that is a 35% debuff. It works, chat. 35% debuff confirmed. Now, this one is a little bit tricky because I wanted to test Orpheus Rig, because Orpheus Rig, I believe, is getting a 227%, or it has been buffed to get 227% increased damage to Mobius Quiver arrows. Or sorry, that's just the Mobius Quiver change, but obviously Orpheus gives you a third volley, so you get 2 volleys that deal a lot of damage. To do this, we're going to have to form a bit of a picture, and it's also based on damage, so I'm actually just going to investigate how this works for starters. So we're going to hit Greg here. You see there's a new bar on the left. So how much damage does this take? That takes a fair number of mint shots, actually. Quite a few. Now that's filled up. Those do a lot of damage. Oh, it's a bar that you can spam. Oh, that's cool. I actually really like that. So the bar stays. It doesn't reset when you do an arrow. That's nice. Okay, so let's try this again. So what I'm going to do here, again, this is 200 super. I'm going to shoot these at Carl, or Greg, sorry. We're going to see how much that does. So that's 4, we'll call it 4, call that 470. It's taking a bit of tick damage. Or actually, no, yeah, we'll do 4106. So just need to remember that. 4106. That is the damage of the initial impact. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to tether him, and I'm going to build up my Mobius Quiver stacks nice and quick. And then we're just going to spam the other 2. Okay, so we're maxed out. So I'm going to do this, and I'm just going to spam these last 2 arrows. See what that looks like at the end. Oh, it's a decent bit of damage. Decent bit. So 19,678. So if you add those together, it's actually it's not that crazy. So 23,784. 23,784. I guess that's not bad. I mean, that's not bad. 23k. By the way, chat, that is literally like 200 damage under a Celestial Nighthawk. Granted, it's not all instant, but it's very good. It's 1584. So 1584 for the crossbow. And then if I hit him with this, which I shouldn't have done that, we'll get Mobius Quiver all the way to the top. And remember, I think it's a 30% debuff Mobius Quiver. So we're going to do that. Now, 396. Wait, 3960? Bro, that's 2.5 times. Wait, so if I hit that, let me do this. We're going to get Mobius Quiver all the way charged up. I'm going to hit him with it again. So he's tethered at the moment. Oh my god! 6,800? Brother. Okay, crossbows with Mobius might actually be really good. We're going to save this for a meta testing video, chat, that I want to do tomorrow. Back to the topic at hand, though. Now, I want to try Star Eater, Silence and Squall. So this super got, what was it, like a 60% buff? 63% or something, if I recall. We have Facet of Ruin on here. Again, 200 super. Anyway, Star Eater, Silence and Squall. Let's check it. And we're just going to patiently wait. Wait for this thing to tick away. Get it all done. Yeah, keep it going. Keep it going. You got this, bro. You got this. Keep going. Nice. Right, 16,608. I'll get a bit closer. 16,606. That's okay. 16,606. I mean, that is the lowest for the hunters so far. But I guess it's better than nothing. I think it would have been way worse beforehand. So, staying with Star Eater Supers though, we're going to do Silk Strike now. Because Silk Strike didn't get any buffs. However, it is just good to get like a number for it, just to compare. Right, Silk Strike. Let's do this. Light attack spam. See how much we do. I'm expecting pretty decent things out of this because it was very good last season. Obviously, we lost Shield Crush now, so... Right, 30,300. Still very good. That's actually very solid. Very solid for Silk Strike. Nice. 30,300. So, rest assured, chat, Silk Strike is still very solid in this meta. We have 3 left for the Hunter. These are actually, I guess, not terribly important, so we'll just try and blast through these really quickly. We're going to do Star Eater, Storm's Edge, and this is with Courage this time. This will be... We have Storm's Edge with Courage and Star Eaters. Let's check this real quick. I don't know if I'm actually hitting crits on Greg here, but we'll assume that I am. 25,862 for Storm's Edge. Still pretty solid. Star Eaters, 25,862. Now we're going to move on to Raiden Flux Arc Staff, which is actually pretty impressive last season. But again, we have lost Shield Crush now. Going to be a bit difficult, but this should still be pretty solid. I'm just going to be spamming the Palm Strike combo. So yeah, I might need to cap my frames for this. Actually, just to make sure that the test is consistent, I will cap my frames because that normally... has stuff to do with the damage, so let's go. So go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. There we go. Nice. 35,210 for Raiden Flux. Pretty solid. Pretty bloody solid. Actually, I think, is that the highest? That is the highest. That is the highest Hunter Super that we've had so far. So yeah, obviously it takes a while to get out though. Last Hunter Super, we have Star Eater Gathering Storm, which is right here. Gathering Storm, honestly a pretty bad super these days compared to a lot of other things, but we're just going to get the number for it. Star Eater Gathering Storm, let's see it. Just tick on. I'm not expecting a lot from this because the Star Eater damage doesn't affect the ticks, at least to my knowledge. 18,956. Yeah, I mean, it's just like when Celestial Nighthawk exists on Prismatic, it's gonna be pretty difficult to justify this. 18,956. Still okay. Still better than Star Eater's Silence and Squall. Okay, but that does it for the Hunters, actually, chat. There was nothing else on the Hunter that I did want to try. Very impressed with the Nighthawk numbers. Pretty decent burst. And then we have very interesting stuff with a Mobius Quiver going on, but we're going to save that for tomorrow. So obviously pause if you want to take a look at all the numbers so far. For the YouTube video, but we are going to finish up with the Titans now. But yeah, for Titan, the story is kind of similar. It's just kind of testing the classics, seeing how Thunder Crash holds up. It's still going to be very good because obviously no nerfs have happened, and actually that's the first one we're going to do. So it's going to be Curious Thunder Crash here again with Facet of Courage, and like I said, all of these are going to be at 200 super. So let me just proc Slice here real quick. Got him severed, and then we're going to do this. Make sure he stays in the aftershocks. Get a third tick. Or fourth? No, there we go. So 24,774 for Curious Thunder Crash. And that is actually ever so slightly less, or so ever so slightly more than a Celestial Nighthawk Golden Gun. So, but the thing is, they are incredibly comparable now. Like, a Nighthawk is just so similar to Thunder Crash now. So yeah, 24,774. And actually next, we are wanting to test Howl of the Storm, because there are some changes that happened to Howl of the Storm, in the super variant that is, recently, which made it so you perform way less of the attacks when you're in the super, which is a bit unfortunate. This should only allow me, I want to say like 5 or 6. I'm just going to do this. Yeah, it's not that many. It costs a lot of super energy. Okay, this is not going to be a great test, but let me redo that actually. In fact, we'll do it on Greg because he's a wide boy. Bunch of experimentation here. So we'll do this, and then we'll go here. There's a little bit of splash on the Greg on my right, but it shouldn't matter. Okay, so there we got 5. He should shatter. Get those Okay, that's actually, I think that's a good test. That should be as good as it gets. Yeah, all right. We'll go with that for Howl of the Storm, Glacial Quake. 36,621. 36,621. And yeah, we should probably compare that to just the standard heavy attack now. So I'll just grab this again. I'll go like here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Definitely do more attacks with this. There we go. Nice. Yeah, 41,228. That is with heavy attacks. So I think, yeah, I think Star Eaters is better, like slightly overall. They're not very different. So if you chose to use Star Eaters or Synthos, but I think what this tells you is that the uppercut attack from Howl of the Storm is like slightly worse. I'm thinking the only place you would use this is honestly like obviously Renegades in Vesper's Host. But yeah, sticking with Star Eaters actually, we are going to do Twilight Arsenal now. You know, despite Twilight Arsenal being only buffed by 25% with Spirit of the Star Eater, which is abysmal by the way, Bungie, can you please, can we have a little remedy for that please? Bring Twilight Arsenal back into the spotlight. I still want to see how this does compared to the other Titan Supers. It should be, I don't know, if Curious Thundercrash was 24,000, I think this should be around maybe 20, 19, something like that. Do this here, slice him, and then just go ham. Won't pick up the axes. So 20. Oh, that's actually better than I thought. 21,358. We're gonna do Sentinel very soon actually. But yeah, 21,358 for Twilight Arsenal. That's actually okay. I actually did want to try with Syntheseps now because I actually had people in the previous video that I did asking for me to test it with Synthos. So we're just gonna spawn in a couple more Gregs. Go here. There we go, that's perfect. I had biotics the whole time. 2-3, hold on, excuse me, Greg. Excuse me. 2-3-2-9-8 with Synthos, Courage, Twilight Arsenal. 2-3-2-9-8. Barely scraping Thundercrash, which is still better. Now, chat, we are going to move on to Blade Fury. I don't really expect much from this, to be honest with you. Because when we've done this before, it's just been kind of meh. We'll do 1 heavy, 3 light. So do 1 heavy, 1, 2, 3, heavy, 1, 2, 3, heavy, 1, 2, 3, and then another heavy to finish up. 2, 6, 9, 8, 3. Not terrible, but still going to be using Curious or playing Hunter. Moving on from that, we're actually going to go back to Solar here. We're going to use Pyro Gale Gauntlets. And I'm going to need a little prep for this. So I'm going to need to get Roaring Flames ×3, and this is with Ember of Ashes. Still got Roaring Flames. Pop this on in here. Slam. And we'll have him just cook. Burn. Yes. Burn. Yeah. Done burning. No, he's still burning. Still going. Yeah. These 19s and 17s, they count, chat. They count. They count for the damage. There we go. 23,146 for Pyrogales. See, it's so much more effort, and Curious is just doing way more. Just classic Curious, getting away with everything. 23146. But yeah, we actually have 3 left now, chat. 3. And the first one is actually a pretty interesting one. And believe it or not, this is Fist of Havoc. They made a change where your heavy attack damage deals more damage if you dealt a light attack beforehand. I kind of want to see just like a comparison first. So 1 heavy attack here is 2,086. But if I do a light attack beforehand, deals what, more? Maybe I need like multiple light attacks. Hold on. What if I did 1, 2, 3, and then this? Doesn't it? Was it like the extra damage instances, I suppose? I don't know. You know what we'll do? We'll do only heavy attacks, and then we'll do like light heavy and see what the difference is. So let's go heavy here. Heavy again. Heavy. Imagine Fist of Havocing a boss in the big 25. I don't think 13,000. 13,920. Okay, so 13,920. Now let's try again, but by doing light attacks to buff the damage. Light heavy. Light heavy. Light heavy. Okay, it's actually not bad. that's actually a bit more. 20,398. It definitely works. That is not terrible. That is slightly less than Twilight Arsenal with Star Eaters. 20,398. I'll write that down. Actually, no, that was it. So the last one that I wanted to test, chat, and this one is very interesting. And to be fair, I probably shouldn't have left it till last, but Sentinel Shield. And in fact, I'm going to make Greg look at me here because Banner Shield time. It is the one that is very interesting. And Greg is the perfect candidate because he is going to be shooting me a lot. First of all, I just want to see like how much a shield throw does here. So 931. So let's just keep that. Let me just clear this. So keep that in your heads, chat. 931. We can try it with second chance afterwards, yeah. So yeah, I actually need to make Greg hostile here. Because then I can block this damage, charge up my shield throw. And my super is actually staying. That's actually quite cool. Anyway, let's see it. Whoa! Wait. 17,594? Hang on. And I can do it again. What kind of percentage is that, bro? 17,594? Wait. Bro. Hold on. I think I can make that a bit more optimal. What is that as a percentage? 17,594 divided by 931. That is a 19x increase, chat. 19x. Hold on. How many of these can we get off? In fact, you know what I'm going to do? I've got a great idea. We're going to have multiple Gregs. Multiple. And we're just going to hit, right. Shoot me. Oh, yeah, that's filling up quickly. Oh. Yeah. Oh, it's ricocheting, obviously. That charges up pretty fast. Oh. Nice. Now again, can I get a third one? A third one, please? Oh, the shield throw actually charges... Ah, so it's got diminishing returns on it. Very obvious diminishing returns. That is not charging for a fourth one. Or a third one. No, that is not happening. But that is actually shocking. Let me... Hold on, let me... No, let me... No. Oh, probably 2. 2 is going to be the number that you go for. Okay, we can stop that now. I turned it off. Thank you. And I'll try and get 2 shield throws off with 1 super activation. Let's do this again. Greg, let's dance. So yeah, this first one is super easy to charge up. That's done. Now hit me again. This one is going to take longer to... Yeah, I'm actually surprised this works so well. Shoot me, Greg. Come on. I need to be able to just throw my shield before you stop shooting. Boom. Okay. 35,089 for 2 shields. That is very cool. Okay, that is just by default, by the way. That's no extra exotics. I could pull a second chance right now, because keep in mind, chat, the second chance shields now also weaken as well. So I don't know if they'll actually do a little bit of extra damage on their own, but I think it's worth testing. Right, hit me. Hit me. Throw this. Yeah, I guess he is weakened, but I don't think it'll last long enough until I get my next one. That's more of a team benefit. More of a team benefit for sure. Yeah, the weakens ran out by this point. But I have this again. Go back to protecting my team. I mean, I could protect my team for a very long time. Wait, 35,188. That is seriously impressive. Like, especially considering a Curious is 24,000. It's not too much different. I think with Ursa, you'll just be able to hold the shield, like, a lot. Let's have a play. Maybe not forever, but for a very long time. Yeah. Yeah, just holding it. But being around your teammates will keep the shield up for longer, won't it? So get your super back faster. Yeah, I'll see how much super I actually get back from this. Should be 50%, right? Yeah, there we go, exactly 50%. Yeah, so I guess it's either second chance or Ursa. And this is a roaming super chat, so you're gonna be able to farm this back like super quick. I don't have like a... Like if we just use a new Malpice here as an example. If I just pop these, like look how quickly I'm getting my super back. Like, especially if you have a team, multiple buffs and debuffs going on right now, it's going to be so easy to actually get that super back and charge. Yeah. This is something that's going to be very relevant for, I think, 6-man races. Perhaps not for the dungeon. I don't think this is relevant for the dungeon, but yeah, that's pretty cool. Anyway, chat, that has been your Renegades super testing. We actually had some cool stuff come out of this. We had some very cool, like, Storm Trance numbers. Obviously, Sentinel Shield doing some crazy things. Banner Shield is back. Maybe, we'll have to see. Celestial Nighthawk, very solid. Bit disappointing from Needlestorm, unfortunately. Yeah, obviously, for the YouTube people, I'll have the graphic up on screen for you all to, you know, watch and take a screenshot or share with your friends. But yeah, that's it. So thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye for now, dear viewers.